Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Five, four, three, two, one. How you doing, Roland? How you feeling today? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3.
Stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Today is Monday, January 12, 2026. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee turned down federal funding to help feed children and families during the summer. I thought they were pro-life. Yeah. I'll talk with Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson about how this impacts low-income areas. Also, a Jacksonville Jaguars beat reporter from the Black Press is causing a stir because she offered encouraging words to the head coach of the team. She'll join us right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell fires back at Donald Trump after the Justice Department investigation of him over spending, and Republican and Democrats in the Congress are saying back off of the Fed chair, Donald Trump. More ICE agents are headed to Minneapolis after last week's fatal shooting of Renee. Plus, Lieutenant Governor of Michigan Garlin Gilchrist suspends his gubernatorial campaign. He announces he's running for another office. Plus, Donald Trump told the New York Times that the results of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the one that ended segregation and race-based discrimination, left white people very badly treated. Yeah, you know I got something to say about that. And I keep telling y'all, these Republicans are absolutely positively not pro-life. Wait till I tell y'all what Trump's EPA is doing when it comes to pollution. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
The Republican governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, has turned down $84 million. Yes, $84 million in federal funding that could feed nearly 700,000 kids this summer when school meals aren't available. Instead, the state is running a smaller program that reaches fewer kids and gives the administration control over who gets help. Critics say this leaves hundreds of thousands of children hungry. For families counting on summer meals, this is a major deal. The governor says his program is better for Tennessee, but for how many kids? That federal money, of course, could have made the difference between eating and going hungry. Joining us now is Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson. Glad to have you back on the show, Representative Pearson. Look, this is not just the first time a Republican governor has done this. We saw DeSantis do this. We saw Texas Governor Greg Abbott do this. These people love saying they're pro-life, but it's amazing how they love to deny basic food benefits for the most vulnerable.
Yeah, no, it's disgusting and it's dishonorable to the oath that we all swear to protect and care for the people in our states, the people in our communities. Governor Bill Lee is abandoning the children for another year of the summer food program and taking tax dollars that we paid already, $84 million, and just returning it to the federal government without actually fighting to make sure that every child in the summertime is not going to bed hungry. 1 out of 5 children are already food insecure in this state. Hundreds of thousands in my district need these resources, and the program that the governor actually launched to, in essence, replace what the federal government was giving did not include Shelby County. It didn't include Memphis, Tennessee. And so it was a program from its outset that was destructive and disruptive and did not actually meet the needs of hundreds of thousands of kids, not only in urban areas, but in suburban and rural areas across the state of Tennessee. And so myself and 9 of my colleagues today sent him a letter and are demanding that Governor Bill Lee apply for the $84 million of federal funding that's already been allocated for our state to be able to feed hungry children. A lot of people claim Christianity and claim these faith practices, but when it comes to actually feeding hungry people and feeding hungry children, they don't do it. And it's time for this hypocrisy to cease, time for the shenanigans of these games to end by this Republican party, and time to care for people in our communities.
I'm confused. So he has a program, but it didn't include Shelby County where Memphis is, but he's the governor for the whole state. So was he only trying to feed white rural Tennessee?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he cared about certain children. He just didn't care about our children. He didn't care about our community. Memphis, Shelby County was not included in his pilot program for trying to replace what the federal government is doing. And right now, we're facing a budget deficit of nearly $1 billion that's being reduced. Even our veterans didn't get a single dollar increase in the budget this year because of the actions of this administration that have been fiscally irresponsible, giving tax breaks to the billion-dollar corporations and not caring or investing in people. But we know this federal program has resources allocated intentionally to help poor people. That's poor Black kids, poor Latina kids, poor white kids, and poor people in the state of Tennessee that we are not getting access to simply because of a decision by this governor and his administration not to care for our children. And that is so consequential to the health and the well-being of our families, of our communities, but it's devastating to the children who are going to bed hungry at night when they don't have to. The money's there. So often in government, you hear people say resources are scarce, but right now we know the resources are available. We have a lack of political will and human care affecting and infecting us right now.
So they like government money for other things, but not federal government money when it comes to feed hungry children.
In essence, right? You know, when it comes to programs or ideas that they have that they think are going to move forward this agenda of hurt, of harm, sending in the National Guard to places like Memphis and getting federal money to be able to do so, getting federal investment in the form of military occupations that are arresting people unlawfully and unjustly in Memphis, in Minneapolis, all across the country. Those are the types of things that they are manning federal investment. But when it comes to actually meeting the bare needs of people, the dealing with the affordability crisis, feeding hungry kids, somehow Republican Governor Bill Lee is saying he doesn't have a responsibility to them. He doesn't view them as worthy of being able to eat in the summertime when we know they're not getting as much food because the school system is closed. And we know there are hundreds of thousands of people in our state and across the country who rely on food programs to be able to eat meals. That isn't something that should be political. It is not something that should be partisan. It should be something that is a moral issue and a moral question that we should obviously accept our tax dollars back to help the poorest and those who are in the most need, just like we should be expanding Medicaid in the poorest states in the country so that people can have access to it. And just like we should be making sure there's an Affordable Care Act premiums for people so that their premiums aren't going up 200-300% so that they'll be able to afford health care and not worry about dying because of an illness in a state like ours that has the most medical debt of any state in the United States of America. Their morals and their mentality is misplaced and is placed on the priorities of profit of corporations, but not actually caring for people.
All right, then, Representative Pearson, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate you. Let's keep up the fight.
Yes, sir. Indeed. My pal is Dr. Ome Congo, the being a senior professorial lecturer at School of International Service, American University. Glad to have him with us. Also, author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racist. Dr. Terry Ann Scott, director of the Institute for Common Power out of Phoenix, Arizona. Glad to have both of you here. This is what I don't understand, Ome Congo, and it is very basic. Federal government allocates this money. It goes to feed constituents. It goes to feed people. But you have these Republican governors who go, oh, no. We don't believe in these federal funds, so therefore we're going to decide that we're just going to turn this money down. I remember during COVID when all these Republican governors, like Bill Lee, were boasting about their surpluses. Do you know why they had a surplus? Because of federal money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And it's amazing that this continues to happen when you see these governors show a clear, callous mindset for the people of their state. They don't care if it's red or blue in terms of the people who voted for them or did not vote for them. Yes, obviously, when they talk about, excluding areas that include Memphis, there are Republicans who live there. There are white people who live in these spaces as well. Clearly, not as many as people who may be affiliated with the Democratic Party or who are just black and brown. But I always find myself asking, where are the people? Where are the people in Tennessee who can say, I voted for you. Why are you doing this? Why are you destroying my family as well? I think some of these citizens of these states, they're comfortable with it all being burned to the ground as long as some other folks don't get ahead, as long as we don't get fed, as long as other brown folks in their communities don't get fed, because this is absolutely atrocious. I mean, they have this mindset of, well, I guess, we'll get fed some other way. But these are people who are never going to be leaders for all of the people. But enough of these white Republicans in these states are not standing up and speaking up. And so people like Bill Lee, they can get away with this continuously. And again, Roland, I've been watching the news all day. This is the first time that I'm seeing this story talked about anywhere. I mean, it's been written in some articles here and there, but in terms of like news and television and the like, it's not being discussed. And this is another way why these guys get over. And it's disgusting. And I'm so thankful for representatives like Pearson who are out there talking about this, and for you who are doing it. But when the people of these states start to stand up, when the people lead, the leaders will follow. And there are too many people in Tennessee who are just complacent and comfortable with this happening, even if it's at their own expense. And we can talk about everything from what's going to happen in the school budget cuts, other things that are affecting the poor, Meals on Wheels programs, programs affecting senior citizens, run down the list. So many of this is getting cut, but they don't really seem to care. And that's why these governors continue to get over.
Terry Ann, the reality is what we're facing, it's an attack on poor people. It's specifically an attack on poor Black people and poor Latinos and others. And this is where what we keep saying, people are going to have to rise up and take to the streets, nonviolent protests, but also they've got to maximize their voting power, because we're seeing this all across the country. And as long as people are willing to sit elections out, these crazy, deranged MAGA people will hold power.
That's right. And I think your point that it is tied completely to the vote is a valid one. And to say that people are not rising up, the point that you made earlier, that we are not seeing this on the news cycles, that's exactly right. So if we keep people in ignorance, then they don't know what's happening. And so they are less prone to rise up. When the governor was asked why he's doing this, he said he didn't want to expand welfare. He didn't believe in welfare. Well, that's rich from Republicans who give welfare and tax cuts to their buddies, but he believes this to be welfare. But clearly he doesn't. He sees it as welfare for a very select group of individuals. Roland, the question that you asked the representative was the right one. Why Memphis? Why specifically Memphis is being cut out of that? It is very challenging for us to remove race from the equation for why he is doing this. And so we know that there are people outside of Memphis who are white, who are MAGA, who, to your point, are perfectly happy with not having those benefits extended either to themselves or to people within their communities, so long as Black or brown does not benefit from those things. And this will continue to happen. When we talk about the importance of the vote and people say it doesn't matter, number one, we know that there are local elections that are won or lost by a handful of votes. Number two, if your vote didn't matter, then Republicans wouldn't go to such efforts to stop you from casting it. And so it is important for us to understand that even something like a summer program for food insecure children is tied to our elections.
Indeed, indeed. All right, folks, hold tight 1 second. I got to go to a break. We come back. We're going to talk about ICE in Minneapolis. Illinois and Minneapolis are now suing ICE. As a result, you got some other wild things happening out here with Trump saying, oh my God, whites have been so hurt because how dare Congress pass the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Yeah, I got a couple things to say about that. So we'll break it all down. We come back right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. America is being reshaped in real time by a group of 6 people, unelected and without any checks and balances. By the end of the current Supreme Court session, education, the workplace, who gets to elect our leaders, and so much more could radically change. This week, we reconvene our legal roundtable and look at what the new America may look like and how we should respond. That's next on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
I'm Ryan Wilson, CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald the Con Trump's Justice Department is going after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. The DOJ is looking into Powell due to the $2.5 billion renovation of the central bank's headquarters. The investigation focuses on Powell's congressional testimony regarding the project, which is connected to allegations of misleading information provided to Congress about the renovation's cost and scope. Powell released this video, frankly, slamming this investigation.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned, in part, a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike. In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment. Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people.
Well, folks, this has not sat well with Republicans and Democrats. So go to my iPad, Anthony. This is a tweet posted from North Carolina Senator Republican Tom Tillis. Now, it's amazing how he got he got a lot of guts dealing with Trump since he announced he was not running for re-election in November. He said if there were any remaining doubt whether advisors within the Trump administration are actively pushing to end the independence of the Federal Reserve, there should now be none. It is now the independence and credibility of the Department of Justice that are in question. I will oppose the confirmation of any nominee for the Fed, including the upcoming Fed chair vacancy, until this legal matter is fully resolved. Now, keep in mind, in a couple of weeks, the Supreme Court is going to be hearing oral arguments concerning Donald Trump's attempt to dismiss Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook, African-American. Trump's previously fired Cook, again, the first African-American woman to serve as a Federal Reserve governor, citing allegations of mortgage fraud, which, of course, have never been proven whatsoever. As I said, there are other Republicans and Democrats who have been blasting these actions with the Federal Reserve. Terry Ann, let's just be clear. Donald Trump has been attacking the Federal Reserve since these MAGA idiots put him back in the White House because he wants them to lower interest rates because his economy sucks. So he's been blaming Jerome Powell for everything. And Powell was saying, dude, the reason the economy is bad is because your dumbass tariffs.
Right. So number one, let's make it very clear that there have been no criminal charges placed against Cook. So I think that's important for us to understand. These are false claims coming from the administration in an effort to unseat her. And as you noted, a long line of Black women that he has worked to unseat because of whatever threat he feels from the success of Black women. Number two, I think it's very important that Powell did this, to come out and say very clearly that they are investigating me under a pretense of me misusing funds for creating changes to a federal building, which is really quite ironic given that half of the White House has been knocked down to build some gaudy ballroom. And so Powell has said this and said, no, the reason is because I essentially won't kowtow to the whims of a wannabe dictator. And so I think it's important for him to be public about that, because now what he is beginning to do is garner support from both sides. And the more visible he can make this, and the more that he can let people know that this is an attack because Trump wants to be able to control, Trump and his cronies, not just him, want to be able to control the economy, and by extension, cutting interest rates without analysis, without fact, destroy an economy. Powell says, I'm not going to allow you to do that, and I'm not going to allow you to scapegoat me for that.
Congo, you can tell that this is bipartisan because a number of former Federal Reserve leaders have weighed in. They released this statement on the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's independence and the public's perception of that independence are critical for economic performance, including achieving the goals of Congress has set for the Federal Reserve's of stable prices, maximum employment, and moderate long-term interest rates. The reported criminal inquiry into Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell is an unprecedented attempt to use prosecutorial attacks to undermine that independence. This is how monetary policy is made in emerging markets with weak institutions with highly negative consequences for inflation and the functioning of their economies more broadly. It is no place in the United States whose greatest strength is the rule of law, which is at the foundation of our economic success. Ben Bernanke, who served 2 chairs as chair of the Board of Governors of the Fed under President George W. Bush, Jared Bernstein, who was chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Joe Biden, Jason Furman was chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Obama, Tim Geithner was the 75th Secretary of the Treasury under Obama. He was also president and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Republican Senator Phil Gramm of Texas served as chair of the Senate Banking Committee. Alan Greenspan served 5 terms as chair of the Board of Governors of the Fed, first appointed by President Ronald Reagan, reappointed by Presidents George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush. He was also chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Gerald Ford. Glenn Hubbard served as chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President George W. Bush. Jacob Lew served as Secretary of the Treasury under President Obama. Gregory Mankiw served as chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President George W. Bush. Henry Paulson served as the Treasury Secretary under President George W. Bush. Kenneth Rogoff, who, of course, the Emeritus Bose Professor of International Economics at Harvard University, former Chief Economist of the International Monetary Fund. Christina Romer served as chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Obama. Bob Rubin, Treasury Secretary under President Bill Clinton, also serving as the first director of the White House National Economic Council. And Janet Yellen served as the Secretary of the Treasury under President Biden. She was the chair and vice chair of the Board of Governors of the Fed, chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Bill Clinton, also served as President and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. So, Congo, a broad group there, Republicans, Democrats serving under numerous presidents, showing how Donald Trump's attack is on the independence. But here's the reality. Donald Trump wants to be King Trump. He wants to control everything. So he doesn't give a damn about Congress. He doesn't care about the judiciary. He doesn't care about the independence of the Federal Reserve. He wants to be the one who determines everything, having all power, being almighty.
Well, this is what he told us last week in that interview. The only thing that can stop me is my mind. It's my own limitations, my own morality. And he actually had the audacity to use the term morality. And he's also extremely vindictive. So anybody who he doesn't like, if he went through trials, they have to go through trials. This is why he's still trying to go after Letitia James, now going after her for something relating to her hairdresser. I mean, seriously? I mean, Jerome Powell is somebody who has stood up with dignity to Trump from the very beginning. We all remember that press conference, and they were standing next to each other and they were talking about the building, and Powell was correcting him in real time about the cost of things, which Trump couldn't stand because he's not used to being corrected in real time. This man's term ends in May of this year, even though he stays on the Board of Governors until 2028. In terms of the chair position, he's almost out the door. But Trump can't stand this. I believe the reason why we're seeing a lot of this bipartisan, these comments coming from members of the Senate and former people who had his positions and other financial experts is because this is going to be messing with their money. This is going to be messing with the stock market. This is going to be messing with their investments. The independence of the Fed is the thing that separates us from being like other countries, as was mentioned in that statement. And so these guys, you start talking about their money, there's going to start to be a change. You're going to start to see more interventions publicly or privately from members of the business community as well. Just how you're kind of seeing with some of these big oil execs who are like, we're not really going to be going into Venezuela. What you talking about? It's uninvestable for us right now. And so I think this joint statement is powerful. You're going to start to see more Republicans speaking up. Obviously, you're going to have more Democrats speaking up. But the question is going to become, what actions are they going to start taking? Tom Tillis talking about slowing down appointments. Yeah, that would have been real nice at the beginning of this administration, right? But like you said, he's not running again, so he can feel like he has a little bit of more gumption right now. But Donald Trump's only going to become more emboldened, which means that these leaders have to become more emboldened in how they act to stop him before it's too late.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Lots more to talk about on today's show. Quick break. We come back. A reporter for a black newspaper in Jacksonville has got folks all in a tizzy because she offered encouraging words to the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach after they lost yesterday to the Buffalo Bills. Lil Duval is really upset because they lost as well, the comedian, but that's from rocking my Texas jersey. Don't worry about Lil Duval. The Texans will take care of the AFC South from this point on. So we're going to have that little chat with her. And trust me, people are really upset by what she had to say. We're going to play that for you and talk to her. And we'll talk about Minneapolis, ICE, and how they're being sued by 2 states as well. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. If you can't do that, we understand that. And so we've had people give us 25, 10, 5, a buck as well. Some people have given us more than that, 50, 100, 500, 1,000, or even higher. And so it's all about supporting the work that we do. Lots of different things that we've done. Folks, this is the first day I've actually been back in the studio since the first of the year. We've been making lots of changes, adding new robotic cameras, adding soundboards in here as well, changing up a lot of stuff in here. We've brought in whole new equipment for our remote productions. You name it, we've been doing all of that. Completely changing our audio system in the control room. Been going through all of that as well to improve our sound, and so you name it, that's the work that we've been doing since the Christmas break. So a lot of different things have been going on to improve what we do here. So your support is critical. Listen. We just do the work. It's not about awards. It's not about accolades. It's about impressing you and giving you the information that you need each and every single day. That's what our goal here is. So if you want to support the work that we do, you want to give to us via Cash App. Now, the Cash App changed their rules, so we had to close our accounts. But if you want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see that QR code right here. You can also use that for credit cards. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo's RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Make checks and money order, make it payable to. Come on, guys, switch the graphic. Make checks and money order payable to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. I'll be back in a moment.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Man, it was a fantastic game yesterday between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills. It took place in Jacksonville. It was back and forth in the fourth quarter, and then the Bills finally scored. Jacksonville, the game ended on an interception by Trevor Lawrence. That was, of course, Jacksonville fans were, saddened by that. They won the AFC South. Of course, my Texans came in second. And they were trying to win this playoff game after having a dismal last 3 or 4 years. So at the post-game news conference, Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Lynn Coen was at the podium. And then this exchange happened with Jacksonville Free Press reporter Lynn Jones Turpin.
Jones, Jacksonville Free Press News. I just want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, y'all, that had the sports journalism world in a tizzy. You had lots of reporters who were saying, oh, my God, she's wrong. That was grossly unprofessional. How dare she do that? That's not how reporters are supposed to operate. You're supposed to be there and ask questions and not be a fan. Well, Lynn Jones Turpin, she's been doing the rounds, talking to different people. She joins us right now. Lynn, glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So,
yes.
So take us through. First of all, do you cover all of the games, or were you only there for yesterday? And how long have you been doing what you do there for Jacksonville, for the Jacksonville Free Press?
Yes, covered the games. How you doing, Roland?
Doing
Good
good.
to talk to you. Appreciate the call. Yes, I'm at the games. I've been affiliated with the Jaguar games more than 25 years. I was with the Jacksonville Jaguars under the tutelage of Tom Coughlin. I worked in the season of first. So I've been attending the games. I report on the games. I've been a reporter. I'm with the Black Press. And this is what we do. So it wasn't nothing. It wasn't not normal. They're talking about my credentials and what I shouldn't be credentialed. The season is over. The bottom line. The man came out. He was emotional. And he's carrying the weight of our city, this team, his staff on him. And matter of fact, Roland, it just came out, tell you the truth. It just came out. To formulate a question and get back into the game is over. The game is over, and we headed into next season.
So, had you ever done this before?
What, I mean, you mean at a press conference or just?
No, in terms of,
I
mean, sure. There's one way. Look, asking questions is one thing. Hey, what happened to this part of the game? Whatever. What happened with this? What happened with that? But had you ever offered words of encouragement to not just football, but any other sport before? Was this the first, or had you done it before?
Definitely. No, it's not the first. I've always congratulated and tell them much success, and no, that's not the first time. I think it's the first time because it went viral. I think it's the first time because of the kindness. And then number two, you have to realize the Buffalo Bills won that game. So the fact remains that Jaguars are getting this recognition from about a coach who didn't win the game. That seems to me to be the issue, but yet you're dissecting what I said to him, which was only positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but there's no protocol on what I can ask or what I can say. So there was no confusion for myself.
So you say no protocol. So for instance, so Adam Schefter, ESPN, he had posted, this is an awesome post-game exchange between a reporter and Jaguars head coach Liam Coen. Jamel Hill said there can't be a reporter because if so, I would not have used the term awesome. Pat McAfee of ESPN has defended you, calling people who are complaining about what you had to say a bunch of curmudgeons. And again, what you have here is you have this back and forth in terms of how reporters saying this is how reporters are not supposed to operate. And that is you don't cheer in the press box. You don't root for the home team. You do those different things.
Those rules. Exactly. And so I know those rules.
Gotcha.
I know, but we're at a press conference. I'm no longer in the press box.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm in the press box, I follow the rules and the regulations. I've been in the press box since the team set foot on the field. So yes, I know the rules and regulations in the press box, and I follow those rules without any problem. And you and I know both, we know that. You follow the rules. So upon leaving the game and the team, I just headed back down. You know, you go down to the corridor, go to the press conference, and that's what came up. I mean, everyone was asking all these questions, and when she gave me the mic, it just came out, Roland. It just came out. I wasn't trying to look at what, oh my God, I need to go in the third quarter and the punt in the fifth down. The game is over. Now, after that, what was it? Josh Allen, I think he came up to the podium, and one of the reporters, he told him, let him know, excuse me, I think I've already answered that question. So sometimes you can have a barrage of questions and everybody's asking the same question. So it didn't mean that, oh, I'm his fan. I've never met him. I don't know the coach. I know the coach who he is for Jaguars. He came here. It's been a year, Duval, this and that. But I wasn't trying to be a fan. Yes, I am a fan, but I know my personal working relationship with the Jaguars, with the Black press, and what I do as a reporter. So it just happened, and it came out to give this man a congratulatory and to say, hey, keep your head up, young man. You the one. I mean, I didn't know that would cause such a rift, but it's been quite positive, not for myself, the paper, all the young people in this city, people who I know, who know me personally, didn't even see it, but they heard my voice. I have a lot of young people, and a lot of I'm VP now, the Association of Black Journalists here, and a lot of our members, young people. And he told me when I went to the station today, he said he had just lost a love of his. And the words, he heard them, and it encouraged him. So a lot of people just heard my words, Roland, from around the world. It had nothing to do with, I'm a fan, and you did this. I let the man know you did have a most magnificent season. We are 13-5, and so what was wrong with that?
I got a kick out of black folks when at first they said, I don't even know who asked that question. They said, but I know that's an auntie asking that question. So black folks, black people talk, so that they've been calling you auntie because they said that sounds just like a black auntie. Right there. This was a tweet.
Word on the street.
This was a tweet from Brian Shabel. He said, I've known Lynn for about 10, 11 years. We usually sit in the same section of the press box. She brings such positivity to every game, even during the many losing seasons. No one was more excited than she was about the Jags' performance against the Titans last week. She's a wonderful person, and I'm so happy that this has been received so positively.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, and it has. And matter of fact, guess I was on with Kenan Thompson and Kevin Hart today. I'll be on their, I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I'll be on their show tomorrow, 8 p.m. on Prime Video. So watch out for me. I have to, get Kevin right, tell him to keep his head up and stay in the game.
So this is one of the things that, so let's be real clear, okay? And Wesley Lowry has written about this as well. Because what happens is in our business, you have this what is called objectivity. And that is when you're a reporter, you're supposed to be objective. You're not supposed to show favor. You're not supposed to be against, not supposed to be for. You're supposed to be even keeled. But one of the things that he's talked about in the past is that objectivity actually was not always the case, that really came about in the 30s or something along those lines. And one of the things that also that is hard for a lot of people to understand is that those of us in Black-owned media, we've operated by our own rules. We haven't operated by the rules of white media. So when you talk about in terms of reporting relationships, I mean, what people don't understand that when in Little Rock, Arkansas, when they were plotting the Little Rock Nine, when they were plotting that, the black press was actually in the room with them, and the relationship between MLK and Lerone Bennett, as well as Simeon Booker, between Ebony and Jet. And so a lot of folk really have no understanding in terms of when we talk about the black press, how we operate by our rules, not y'all rules.
Roland, you know what you're talking about. Okay, we're talking about the black press. Come on, 190 years. There's more than 230. I say this every day. More than 230 African-American newspaper printed in this country today. And I'm hail from the great city of Detroit, Michigan. Well, the Michigan Chronicle has been around since 1935. In Philly, they've been printing the Philadelphia Tribune since 1884. We've been around since 1986. The Florida Star here has been around since 1955. So there's an African-American newspaper in every city in this country. Now, I know there was an issue in the NNPA, and we're talking about the black press. And we do things our way, and this is our press. It's just that we need more exposure, subscriptions, advertising. That's the level that we're ascending to for our next level when you're talking about news and newspapers. But we're not just newspapers anymore too. You are on social media. You have all your social media accounts, podcasts, and so forth. So
I had a friend, longtime journalist, longtime sports journalist, who said, I would not have done this. This is, not what, not what we do. And this is what I said. I said, man, this is the most attention the black paper in Jacksonville has ever gotten.
Would you?
That's what I said. I said, so, I said, so bottom line is, so again, that's how I look at it. So my whole deal is, if you Jacksonville Free Press, ride this sucker till the wheels fall off.
Talk to me, and that's what we doing. Come on, I got a Washington Post article coming out tomorrow. Roland, I've been on from NFL, CBS. We doing this, okay? So listen, you need to come on my podcast pretty soon. So yeah, we definitely taking advantage of this. But I think, like I said, the taking it out of context and really deciphering my comments. But then too, Roland, you have to know that everything is politicized too in that other world. So
well, I understand from the journalistic perspective. I understand in terms of how we're supposed to operate, behave. But here's the whole deal. Here's the whole deal. And I'll just say this here. The reality is they're a columnist. They're a columnist who, and this is also people don't understand about journalism. First of all, when you say journalism, that's an umbrella term. You can be an opinion columnist and be a reporter, beat writer, and you literally are under the same umbrella. And so a columnist could say exactly what you said in a column, and nobody would say anything about that. You just actually said it there at the news conference in front of everybody else with the coach standing there. So I understand all the hardcore journalism people. This is not what we do. This is not how we operate. I get that. But the reality is, again, if your publisher ain't got no problem with it, if your bosses are fine with it, well, then that's how it works. That's how it works there. And in fact, this was, I came across this. This was Pat McAfee's response.
Hell yeah. Lynn Jones, Jacksonville Free Press, 27 seconds. Just to let Liam Coen know. Probably, I'm assuming we need to reach out to Miss Lynn Jones. Obviously, we will try to do that. We should have done that. Better journalism on our part. We'll talk about journalism here in a second. But probably somebody that's been around for a little bit, probably been around a little bit, and just saying, hey, nobody expects you to do that this year. You should hold your head up high. We appreciate you here in this city. We probably talked to each other here a lot through the last season. That's every day. The local crew is like, I'm not saying Lynn is. I'm just saying the local crew is like an everyday thing. Just want to let you know you did a good job this year. We appreciate you. 27 seconds. 27 seconds.
It's a lot of time. 27
seconds of, hey, yeah, good stuff. And then, everybody in the sports journalism world say, this is out of line. This
unbelievable.
Can't do it.
Can't have it.
What are we doing here? We got deadlines. What's your deadline? A tweet? What are we even talking about now in 2026 about a deadline? Everybody's on a deadline. First tweet out wins in everything. We are all trying to post stuff now at the same exact time. Now, I know you got to write an entire article, and those 27 seconds can certainly change, especially if those 27 seconds are supposed to be meant on miserable, terrible things, okay? If they're supposed to be miserable, terrible things, those 27 seconds aren't wasted. If those are dumb questions about things that you don't have right that happened on a football field that you just thought were happening, those 27 seconds are A-okay. But a positive, hey, you did good for us this year. We appreciate you. For 27 seconds, can't have it.
No place for it.
Can't have it. It's like, what a weird thing to come out publicly and say, this is disgusting. Who do you think you are to say that you think that's disgusting and it matters? Like, That is a crazy thing about the sport.
So how soon are you going to be on ESPN?
I think I have him tonight, matter of fact. I think I have him tonight. It's amazing, Roland. It's amazing. You know the work we do and being around the country, been doing this a long time. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the viral moment here. And just say, it's a pleasure. We had a winning season. I'm a winning reporter. And I'm just thankful to be on your show and ready for the next phase, Roland. Thank you so much.
And again, I hope as you so as you do these. So first of all, I hope as you're doing them, you're telling people so Jacksonville Free Press. What's your website?
www.jacksonvillefreepress.com. We're on Facebook at Jacksonville Free Press.
Okay.
We're at Jacksonville Free
Now who is your owner?
Sylvia Perry.
Okay, so tell Sylvia. Okay,
she's the publisher. Yes.
Okay, all right. So I may have met Sylvia at an NMPA event. I may have met her there. So tell Sylvia right now. I need you to tell Sylvia right now. I need Sylvia to get with the person running the website. And I need Sylvia.
Crash today.
No, it's up right now. It's up. I got it up right now. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I need them to change the website right now. Okay. Okay. Get rid of that slideshow. Need to have you.
Yes.
Need to have you at the top. Get rid of that slideshow. Come on to celebrate on the First Coast. It's old. Okay, need you at the top.
Yes.
I need a big ass donate button. I need a big ass banner at the top. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If the Mayo Clinic ain't paying y'all, get rid of that.
Get rid of that. Paying. Come on, Roland. All these people paying.
No. I don't know, because the ad they switched.
You, Roland, Roland.
Follow me. No. Hold up, Lynn. I'm trying to get you more money. So follow me here.
Okay, go
ahead.
I
need Sylvia to put a big ass donut button up here, donate button. Say support the paper, get your subscription, support us, same way we do, and so because y'all are getting way more attention. Y'all going all around the globe. It's called maximizing the moment. So don't sit all these interviews. These interviews are free. That don't mean nothing if it ain't helping the paper. So tell folks if they want to support the black press, they want to support layout. Hey, you want to hire more reporters? This is what we looking to raise. And so I'm not lying. I would sit here. So when you with Kevin's show and the rest of them say, hey, we want y'all to be supporting black-owned media as well. And so we're trying to hire interns or whatever. I'm saying while all this attention y'all getting, maximize this, Lynn.
We're doing it. And we got some calls tonight. We're doing it. We have our attorney on the phone. Everything's moving forward. Yes, sir.
But I want a big ass donate button on the website.
We talked to our website guy already today, Kermit out in Houston. No Regret Media. We're working it. We got some T-shirts coming out. We got a lot of stuff going on. So anything you could suggest, we greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much. We appreciate you coming to Jacksonville, EWC. Okay, Roland, thank you.
So I appreciate it. Now, listen. Now, let me be real clear. You see who I'm rocking.
Yes, sir.
You see who I rep.
Oh, yes, I see.
Yeah, you see who I rep. So just want to let you know, we gonna handle the business tonight for the AFC South.
Okay, all right.
The Texans gonna represent the AFC South tonight. Just want to go ahead and just let you know that.
All right, word up. And listen, keep your head up and much continued success to you.
I appreciate it, and I hope this great. So y'all sell a bunch of shirts, make a bunch of money, and support Black Press.
We shall definitely do it.
All right, Lynn, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good luck. Again, Terry, I understand. Again, I've been in journalism since I was 14 years old. I get the whole deal. But listen, I'm like, yo, make some lemonade, make some lemonade, make some lemonade. That's what I want to. That's my whole deal. I mean, again, black press never get attention, okay, unless something bad. I remember when I ran the Chicago Defender. Every time something went wrong, it made headlines And when I took over, I said, no, we got to change these headlines because it can't all be bad news every time they bring us up. But this is one of those moments, again, where you maximize a moment. I mean, I want them to maximize the hell out of this moment.
Not only maximize the moment, I am so glad that the two of you talked about the history of the Black press in the work, because I'm a historian by training. So in the work that I do, I talk about the Black press. I've researched it. I have discussed how they are the reason for the season for the reintegration of the NFL in 1946, in large measure for the integration of MLB in 1947, for so many things, one after another, encouraging the Great Migration. The Black press was at the center of that. So it's beautiful to watch another moment where the Black press can be on a national light. And as far as what she said, I was scrolling this morning about 4 a.m. and saw what she said. I was shocked to hear that there was any pushback and criticism. This was a human moment. And she was telling this young man, and his whole countenance, his whole disposition changed when she was talking to him. So, kudos to her for doing that. And I'm so glad that you pulled up the website and said, hey, gave a little direction. Make sure that you capitalize on this, because the Black press, and that paper in particular, deserves the visibility.
And Congo, when it first happened, I knew the reaction was going to be. I knew it was going to be. And again, I understand our business, the rules, how things are supposed to go. I understood that. And my whole deal was, when I heard it, I knew this was a sister. So I didn't know what. Yeah. And here's the deal: I didn't know if she was a reporter. I didn't know if she was a family member. I didn't know any of that whole deal. But I do think folk can get too crazy with this. And my whole, as Pat McAfee said, it was 27 seconds. It was 27 seconds. And you know what? I'm gonna say it again: the Jacksonville Free Press ain't never, ever, ever. Matter of fact, I'll say this right now. If you take every black newspaper in America and all the black papers combined in the last year ain't got this much attention. And so I love the fact that when she goes on, she mentions NNPA, she mentions the Black Press of America in the papers as well. So that's how I see this thing.
Well, yeah, and I appreciated what Jamel Hill also said on her page. She was like, y'all spending so much time critiquing, you also spend as much time going to the website or the social media for this newspaper and actually following it and support it. Why not do that while you're talking all of this stuff? Look, I can't remember the last time I heard basically a human moment, in these press conferences, as it relates to this particular interaction. Some people may get up there, be emotional about a loss or so on and so forth, but I'm talking about the interaction. But on the flip side, Roland, people are quick. Remember what they did with LSU and Angel Reese? I mean, you got these journalists out there who will do everything to demonize black athletes, sexualize them in the case of Angel Reese and some of these guys out there, and paint them in all of these negative lights. And people don't give them nearly as much critique or condemnation as they rightfully deserve. And so to have a situation like this happen, I think is beautiful. But not only is it beautiful, the positive feedback that she's receiving in a world of so much negativity in and outside of sports, to have this moment and to be recognized for it is beautiful. But like you said, Roland, in the way that world that we live in now, you also got to monetize that joint. So you got to make that happen too.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I'm telling you, Jacksonville, y'all, get them shirts printed now. Get that donate button up now. And all of these celebrities having you on their show, tell them cut a check to the Jacksonville Free Press. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to go ahead and say it, Sylvia. Y'all need to put a request of $250,000. And so say you want to create 4 journalism fellowships with that $250,000 for folks to be able to be on staff and report. Hey, I ain't got, in the words of Frank Lucas from American Gangster, I'm going to get that money.
That's right. That's right.
I got no problem asking for that money at all. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Going to a break. We come back. Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble. We're going to talk about Trump. Oh, my God, white people. Hey, it's been so rough for them since the Civil Rights Act were passed. So, yeah, what was life for black people before that was passed? A lot we're going to talk about in our second hour. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Hey everybody, I'm TD Jakes and I want to encourage you to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. It'll blow your mind.
All right, y'all. Now it's time for our BlackStarNetwork.com headlines with Brittany Noble. Brittany, what up?
A medical group has a small victory against the Trump administration. A federal judge blocked the White House from canceling a nearly $12 million grant. The American Academy of Pediatrics was at risk of losing funding after a clash with the Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over changes to the vaccine policy. Judge Burl Howell issued the ruling after finding that the medical group was likely to prevail in its claim that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services retaliated against it. AAP has emerged as a vocal critic of major changes to the federal vaccine policy under Kennedy, who founded the anti-vaccine group Children's Health Defense. Well, Detroit Mayor Mary Sheffield is a woman on a mission, and she's making history as she goes. Just 4 days after being sworn in as mayor, she unveiled the RX Kids, a Michigan State University initiative launched in 2024. The program will help support families by providing funds for essentials such as utilities, diapers, food, and medical care. The state program is set to pay Detroit moms and their babies $105 million in cash. Well, Trump says Sean Diddy Combs is reaching out to him for help. He told the New York Times that Diddy had formally submitted a request for a presidential pardon. Unfortunately for the falling music mogul, Trump does not intend to grant the pardon anytime soon. However, the deadline reports that Diddy's former criticism of Trump during his first term severely cut his chances of a pardon. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's urging Trump not to issue a pardon. Well, more than 10 major artists will not play at the Kennedy Center due to its non-woke programming. So far, artists and productions have pulled the plug, including Hamilton, Issa Rae, and LL Cool J, just to name a few. Shonda Rhimes resigned from the center's board of trustees. This was after Trump turned the venue into one of his pet projects. He purged board members and installed himself as the new chairman, backed by new bylaws. Well, the people's champion, Muhammad Ali, will be honored with the U.S. postage stamp. The three-time heavyweight champion boxer is regarded as the most famous and influential boxer of all time. This is the first time he's appearing on the U.S. stamp. During his lifetime, he received numerous awards, including the Olympic Gold Medal in 1960, the United Nations Messenger of Peace Award in 1998, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2005. He died in 2016 at the age of 74 after living with Parkinson's disease for more than 3 decades. Well, husband and wife, movie stars Megan Good and Jonathan Majors have obtained citizenship in Guinea after tracing their ancestry to the West African nation through DNA testing. The citizenship ceremony is a private cultural event organized by the Ministry of Culture. It took place at a tourist and cultural center. The couple expressed their longtime plans to have a home there and to potentially spend more time there. Roland?
All right, Brittany, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, y'all. So what did I say 1 year ago? I literally said that MAGA is about defunding Black America. I said MAGA's whole focus is fixated on doing all they can to literally destroy the entire black infrastructure. They want to destroy the black political infrastructure. They want to destroy the black economic infrastructure. They want to destroy nonprofits. I can go on and on and on what their entire effort is in terms of what it is that they actually want to do. And remember when Charlie Kirk was attacking the Civil Rights Act of 1964? Y'all pull that up. And so why is that important? Because this is who they are. This is what they are about. Well, Donald Trump did an interview with the New York Times. And Donald Trump talked about the Civil Rights Act and talked about how, oh my God, how it has hurt white people so much as a result of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Now, you might say, well, wait, hold up. Did he actually say that? Yeah, he actually said it. Y'all pull the article up as well. But I told y'all this was coming. I told y'all that these people, they've always despised the 64 Civil Rights Act, the 65 Voting Rights Act, and the 1968 Fair Housing Act. They believe that the downfall of America began with these civil rights laws. They do. They do. They believe in it. That's what they actually think. And so they've always trashed it. This is Charlie Kirk right here talking about MLK and the Civil Rights Act. Listen.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
I put a post.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad...
You heard what he said. We talk about once a week why the Civil Rights Act was bad. See, so some of y'all might be sitting here saying, okay, well, I don't get it. Well, remember, when we talked about that, remember what happened? This is Trump right here. Revoking the Equal Employment Opportunity Executive Order of 1965, which barred discrimination from housing. It barred discrimination, not housing, when it came to government contracts. This is who Donald Trump is. And so when he talks about whites being treated badly, and so it's because it's all about white grievance. What did I say in my book, White Fear? I said in 2009. In 2009, I said this, that we're living in the age of white minority resistance. I said in 2009 that white people are so angry because of what they believe blacks are getting too much. And so we've seen that over and over and over again. And so now we see the equal employment, here the EEOC saying, oh my God, if you're white, then if you've been discriminated against, please let us know. And so this is the article right here. Trump says civil rights led to white people being very badly treated. So this was an interview with the New York Times. It says, speaking to the New York Times on Wednesday, Trump echoed grievances amplified by Vice President J.D. Vance and other top officials who in recent weeks have urged white men to file federal complaints with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. When asked whether protections that began in the 1960s, spurred by the passage of the Civil Rights Act, had resulted in discrimination against white men, Mr. Trump said he believed, quote, a lot of people were very badly treated. White people were very badly treated where they did extremely well and they were not invited to go into a university to college. He said in a paying reference to affirmative action in college admissions. So I would say that way, I think was unfair in certain cases. He added, I think was also at the same time, it accomplished some very wonderful things, but it also hurt a lot of people. People that deserved to go to a college or deserved to get a job were unable to get a job. So it was reverse discrimination. And here we go. It was the reverse discrimination. Now, quoted in the article, Derek Johnson, president of NAACP, said, quote, there was no evidence that white men were discriminated against as a result of the civil rights movement. the Civil Rights Act and efforts to rectify the long history of this country denying access to people based on race in every measurable category. All right, so I told y'all this was coming. I told y'all. So their entire agenda, Project 2025, is about showcasing, oh my God, how rough these things are for white men. And so we need to understand what people need to wake up, Congo, to understand what is happening. They want to destroy any programming, anything dealing with race, because they don't give a damn about white folks having control. They don't care about discrimination against black people. They don't care about that. Their whole deal is oh my God, how things have been so awful for white people that let's eradicate all these programs because they think their world is falling apart. And what this really is about, white folks not being able to handle the browning of America.
Seen so many posts in different places from people saying it's like y'all literally have everything, the Supreme Court, the House, the Senate, the presidency. You look at the CEOs of corporations, the heads of the majority of these universities. I mean, you can run down the actual list. And you see people like Christopher Rufo who put it out there clearly that they were going to target us. If you look across every industry, federal workers, people who are getting fired from corporate spaces, people who are getting fired from universities, programs that are being cut, university admissions. My daughter's applying to schools this year. You see the numbers decreasing for Black people and especially Black women across the board. So everything that you said in 2009, I remember you talked about being on a panel with somebody from CNN and they were like, oh, you're just being kind of extra with it. It's all playing out, and it's playing out on steroids, and it hasn't even been a full year. We're almost at a full year with this man. So there's only going to be more of it. Stephen Miller's white supremacy has been completely unleashed over, 400,000 women now, Black women as it relates to the workforce. It is only going to get worse. And then you add ICE into it, you add what's going on in immigration, you add what's going to be going on with our schools. So when Trump talks about, some people couldn't go to college, which is an absolute lie, he's trying to have every type of way possible to put out more trigger words to rally up more white people who maybe have a little bit problem with what Trump's doing here and there, but he's giving them more chum. He's giving them more things to say, oh yeah, that's right. They did that. And so I'm now going to continue to be mad. And the fact that his base keeps falling for it when it's been clear that he doesn't give a damn about them, as long as he continues to give them racism as it relates to us and they keep falling for it. But at the end of the day, Roland, it is very clear that this was predicted. You stated it clearly in the book, and you stated it every year since. And if people don't wake up to that right now, I don't know if they're ever going to wake up.
But it's not a question of waking up, Terry Ann. These conservative voters, this is what they believe. They believe, oh my God, we're losing opportunities because of those people. And here's what the real deal is. What they cannot stand is they now have to compete. The reality is these white folks they've lived this life, and all these young white men who are so mad, and they're not just mad at Black people, they're also mad at white women. Oh, we're losing opportunity. Because see, here's the problem. These white folks believe that every job is theirs. They believe that every spot in a university is theirs. They believe that every contract is theirs. When that white woman, Abigail Fisher, sued the University of Texas because she couldn't get in and she had to go to Michigan, well, when they went through the actual courts, they realized that there were white people who had grades less than her, but they were admitted for other reasons. So she was running around thinking, oh, I didn't get this because of Black people. No, boo, you didn't get in the University of Texas because white people got in, not Black people. And so this is their problem. They believe, oh, I've got the grades, I've got this. So for them is, how dare you not accept me into the university, but you keep accepting those people. This is absolutely white supremacy. This is white privilege. This is this belief that we expect everything. When they talk, they say, that was my job. That's literally what they say and they think.
Yeah, two things. So number one, when we talk about white men and then they are asking white men who feel that they have been discriminated against to file suits to come forward. What they are trying to do, I believe, is to take this all the way to the Supreme Court, because as it stands, when you have a discrimination lawsuit, white men are not considered a protected class. So race, sex, age, etc. Those are protected classes. So I think if they can create a case and take it to the Supreme Court, then they know this Supreme Court that is in the hands of the Trump administration will vote to then make white men a protected class. And then all bets are off as we go through what qualifies as discrimination. Number two, you are spot on when you are saying that there is this inherent belief that it is rightfully theirs. And so this is how the MAGA nation functions. At its core, at its baseline, is an assumption that they are entitled to all of those things. And by extension, that any person of color who gets it is woefully unqualified, because it can't be that they are more qualified than the white person who didn't get that thing. If we look back at the race riots that have occurred in this country, 1906 in Atlanta, 1898 in Wilmington, all of these different race riots that occurred, it is the prosperous Black people who are attacked first, because it grates on the nerves of local racists that they were able to achieve anything. When we talk about DEI initiatives in this country, there is a conflation that the Trump administration and others have created that conflates DEI with incompetence. The actuality is that women who are white women who are the most benefactors of DEI and people of color who have been given an opportunity because of any kind of initiative, they typically actually have to outperform their white male counterparts. They do better, they score higher, they've gone to better schools. But if they can make a MAGA nation believe that DEI means you are less qualified and you are taking what is rightfully mine because as a white person, it is my thing, then they can create an army of people to support the initiatives that the administration is putting out, even if those initiatives are going against their core values and things that will help them advance.
So folks just need to understand in terms of what this thinking is. So this is Benny Johnson. Remember, he got a whole bunch of money from the Russian company, one of these crazy deranged MAGA folks who's always espousing these white values. Well, listen.
And so that's what they did in the military. They actually targeted the military specifically, installed the wokest, weakest, saddest, most wicked generals in American history, and they used the military not for war fighting, but for societal and social experimentation with their pagan religion. Remember the recruitment ads from the Biden era? I marched for civil rights with my two moms, and that's why I'm in the Army. What? What does that have to do with war fighting? This has not, I mean, it was a contagion, a wokeness contagion that traveled through the ranks of the military at light speed by design because they were able to perform institutional capture and try and convert this entire organization to their religion. And that's what they did. And it was very dangerous. And it weakened America. And everybody watched what happened in Afghanistan, and everybody's watched what has seen what's happened over the last couple of years with our military. Recruitment numbers through the floor. Because young men who fight and die in all your wars don't want to sign up to serve under someone who attacks white rage. White rage is how you win a war. That's how America's always won wars. Idiots attack white people. They don't want to serve for leader. Young white men don't want to sign up for leadership that doesn't know what a man is or that hates white people. And then they're like, why do we have a recruitment problem? Because we don't want to be part of your pagan religion. I mean, because we want to live normal lives, upstanding moral lives. We have a moral and good nation. That's why. And this is what they done, the military. And this is what's being undone right now. And this is why young men are signing up at record numbers.
To understand, folks, and I keep telling y'all, they hated what took place after George Floyd was murdered. They hated the response. But the response that these white conservatives hated, they hated that young white people and Latinos and Asian Americans were so shocked and stunned by the callous murder of George Floyd that they began to respond. So they said, oh, no, we can't have that. People like Benny Johnson, oh, yeah, these MAGA people, they said, oh, Project Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, they said, oh, no, we can't have that. No, we got to destroy Black Lives Matter. We have to destroy the movement. They attacked BLM, like they attacked, like they used COINTELPRO to attack civil rights organizations. The exact same thing. That was 2021. 2022, all of a sudden, critical race theory. It's Christopher Rufo and his whole group. 2023, let's attack woke. 2024 is attack DEI. So they attach woke and DEI to everything. And so the white rage that Benny Johnson's talking about is they want to enrage white people. You have studies now where white people believe that they are twice as likely to face discrimination than black people. How many white folks have you heard impacted by redlining? How many white people have you heard who have had to deal with homes being appraised at a much lower value than the black? Y'all, come on. But this is what it is. Because what is happening, Terry Ann, in this city here, what they cannot stand, they cannot stand black success. And so it's, oh no, you're here because you're DEI. No, I'm here, I can kick y'all ass. See, that's what they can't stand. So what's driving them crazy is they don't have to compete. So these young white men who are like, oh my God, I couldn't get a writer's job in Hollywood. Really? And now what have you seen? The videos put out, UCLA, they put out last 5 years. No, not last 5 years. Last year, it was the whitest in terms of showrunners and leaders of shows, the whitest in 5 years. Because what Donald Trump has said is, oh, y'all forget diversity. You ain't got to hire diverse people. So you now have permission, go back to how you used to hire, hiring your friends, hiring your friends' friends. And so what they want is they want whiteness. What they want is they actually want Jim Crow America, just minus the colored fountains. They actually, Make America Great Again is really about Make America White Again. That's what the goal is. And so they want everything white. Corporate boards white. Universities white. They want contracts white. That's what they want, period.
You mentioned George Floyd. So 2020, we have a racial reckoning, and it's a very important moment in our history. So not only do we have George Floyd and we have the visibility of this kind of violence on television, we saw the video of Ahmaud Arbery. We heard the cries of Elijah McClain. All of that is happening within the context of a pandemic, when everybody was home watching television, where a pandemic that is laying bare the racial disparities in healthcare and health outcomes because that pandemic disproportionately impacted people of color. And so all of this coalesces to create this catalyzing moment for people across racial and ethnic boundaries to come together into the streets and be united to fight for change. That was the beautiful kind of silver lining and outcome of 2020. And then what do we have? Then we have a backlash to that progress. And that is nothing new in America. There's a backlash to the progress of Reconstruction. That is how we have the rise of Jim Crow that you are talking about. There was a backlash to the election of President Obama. That's why we have the 2013 Supreme Court case, Shelby versus Holder, that almost completely gutted the Voting Rights Act. So we are still in the midst of that backlash right now. And so CRT that they equate with something bad, DEI that they equate with unqualified. That's where we are right now. And we have to fight it, because if we cannot change the hearts and minds of people, what we can do is legislate the hell out of their ability to harm us. That is why, when we go back to what we talked about in the beginning of this call, that is why the vote is so eminently important. That is why at my organization, we do the work that we do.
This is the reality of what or where these folks are. For Trump, he's their great white hope. That's what he is. He's a great white hope. This is more from the New York Times article. Go to my iPad. He said, Trump has gone on to equate diversity with incompetence and inferiority and cast himself as the protector of white people, both at home and abroad. Asked on Wednesday whether his immigration agenda was aimed at making the country whiter, Trump said he wanted people to quote, that love our country. It's very simple, said Mr. Trump, who has carved out exceptions to his crackdown on refugee admissions for mostly white South Africans. I want people that love our country, he said. Carrying out Mr. Trump's agenda is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which was formed in 1965 under the Civil Rights Act. The commission's chair, Andrea Lucas, issued a striking video message last month underlining the agency's new posture. Are you white? Are you a white male who's experienced discrimination at work based on your race or sex? You may have a claim to recover money under federal civil rights laws. Contact the EEOC as soon as possible. Time limits are typically strict for filing a claim. Now, see, the thing here, Ome Congo, is what was also happening is that what they have been doing is they've also been filing various civil rights laws, utilizing the laws meant for black people against black people. For instance, you take the Civil Rights Act of 1866, okay? That was about protecting African Americans from being able to get contracts. They now are filing lawsuits against folk like the Freedom Fund and others who are creating economic opportunities for African Americans, saying, oh, that this stuff is discriminating against white people. That's what they're doing. They're filing lawsuits saying the Civil Rights Act of 1964, just hurts them. This is so, what people have to understand is why we connect the dots and why we keep telling people you got to be paying attention to what's going on. Why I don't spend my time on all this entertainment and sports and all this other bullshit, because what they want to do, Ome Congo, is they want to be able to get rid of, one, or severely weaken all of these laws to allow the mindset of Jim Crow to come back to have Jim Crow 2.0.
Absolutely. I just submitted my manuscript for my next book on trigger words, and it talks about how these guys, Republicans, MAGA, even some liberals, use certain words to trigger people to do what they want, to basically do their bidding or unleash a lot of the hate that was already in them. And so you can see that Trump will never fully answer that question. He'll just say, we want people that love America. But then you'll see him in a press conference, a few weeks earlier when he says people from Somalia hate our country and they're garbage people. And so he's making it clear who he wants. Stephen Miller, the same thing. They'll never say it directly, but they'll just put out policies and they'll use language like, we want people that respect our civilization. J.D. Vance will say things like, 20 illegal immigrants in the house, it's not who speak all these different languages. It's not compatible with English-speaking neighbors. They run down the list of all of these trigger words. And like you said, it's just all racist. It's not even dog whistles. It's bullhorns. And we're all clear about it. And I wish more of these journalists would be more aggressive, obviously they're scared, to do it because they want to keep their access about this line of questioning, but it's they're saying enough that we should already know because it's coupled with their policies. It's like James Baldwin said, before, I don't know if you're racist, but I know that I'm not in your unions. I don't know if you're racist, but you run down the list. Every single action that they take is racist. When they make these job cuts, and even within the federal government, they're primarily keeping the white males in these departments, whether it's the Department of Education, run down the list. And so when you see their actions coupled with what it is that they're saying, just because they're not saying the N-word, just because they're not saying black, every single policy that they have is designed to destroy and defund Black America. And like you said, just make it just like what they're doing with Obamacare, right? Just make it so weak, so diluted that it's already gone. And so in using civil rights acts against us in our own, in the work that we're doing and putting out these bullhorns to let people know, hey, we're coming out here to protect y'all in every way, shape, and form, he has made it clear that this is an administration that is designed to protect white people and specifically white men. And they are not going to make any bones. They're not going to make any apology about it. They're going to claim it. They got whole networks out there that are going to supporting them in this mission as well. And once again, Trump said the only thing that can stop him is his own mind and his own morality. And when it comes to black people, he doesn't have any.
See, Terry Ann, what drove that tweet from the head of the EEOC was this article right here. So this white man, Jacob Savage, did this post in Compact called The Lost Generation. And all this thing boomeranged all across social media. And these white folks were just going crazy, talking about, oh my goodness, and how amazing this was. And so one thing the article says in here, it talked about how DEI hurt, look at this, how DEI really hurt white millennial men. And the doors seem to close everywhere and all at once. In 2011, the year I moved to Los Angeles, white men were 48% of lower-level TV writers. By 2024, they accounted for just 11.9%. The Atlantic's editorial staff went from 53% male and 89% white in 2013 to 36% male and 66% white in 2024. Oh, so he's saddened that it went from 89% white to 66%. White men fell from 39% of tenured track positions in the humanities at Harvard in 2014 to 18% in 2023. See, so really what and J.D. Vance shared this article, Stephen Miller shared, all the people, they push it out because what drove them crazy was, and this is really what this is all about, Terry Ann, was angering them. What's angering them is, damn it, why do we have to share? Mm-hmm. Why must we share? And then he says something in here, give me a second, it was hilarious. This may be how Boomer and Gen X white men experience DEI, but for white male millennials, DEI wasn't a gentle rebalancing. It was a profound shift in how power and prestige were distributed. And so he goes on. So this whole article is complaining about, oh my God, how rough it was for us white men who are millennials. And what the white men who are millennials can't handle is this. That is, you're mad because your grandfather and your dad got to experience a white world. See, what white folks like Jacob and white folks like Trump and white folks like J.D. Vance refuse to want to accept is that the reason there was the imbalance because y'all kept qualified black folk, when I say qualified black folk, qualifying according to your standards. Let me just remind people, South Carolina, in South Carolina, to become a lawyer, you didn't have to go to law school. You have to go to law school. But it was a black man who became a lawyer. They said, oh shit, no. We got to create something here. Oh yeah. So when you start talking about accreditation and all this sort of stuff, America used to have a number of black medical schools. Oh, but when they said, no, we need to be establishing some standards in this country. So therefore, we need to create some medical school standards. Massive number of medical schools went away. The reality is white folks have always changed the rule in America. White folks have always changed the rule when black people step in because we can't let them in. So now we got to change the rules because we can't let them in our house. And that's exactly what's going on here. And so what they're so mad about, they're so mad that they froze black people out. And so then when the civil rights movement comes up, all of a sudden, the door wasn't blown open. The door was barely cracked. But all of a sudden, black folks begin to creep through corporate America. And black people start getting hired in media. And black people start politics. Okay? Shirley Chisholm was the first black woman elected to Congress ever. That didn't happen till the late 60s. And so they're angry that, damn, we white male millennials, why couldn't we get a piece of that white world? So what angers them is they now have to compete. Why are these white young men running around pissed off, mad at white women? Because they mad that white women took their jobs. Because white women are the greatest beneficiary of affirmative action in American history. So, Terry Ann, so the real deal here is what these white folks cannot handle, what white millennials, white male millennials can handle, which is why Nick Fuentes is used as a weapon by the Republicans. This is why the Benny Johnsons of the world, the Charlie Kirks of the world, the Ben Shapiro's of the world, they have to speak to white rage because what these white folks can't comprehend is, damn, you mean tell me that I can't have a Mad Men-like world? Damn, I can't have a world where grandfather used to be able to smack a woman on the ass and grope her and pop the back of her bra strap. I can't act like that in the workplace because all these damn laws, these damn rules. Damn, you mean tell me that, wait a minute, these DEI programs, why we got to go hire people from these HBCUs? We had Barry Williams on the show. She talked about sitting there in Silicon Valley, and they were going over applications, and the white woman goes, oh, I've never heard of this college. And she threw, so she said, wait, hold up. She said, how are we not going to examine the sister's application because she went to a college you ain't never heard of? Because these white folks, oh no, I'm sorry, what's a FAMU? What a Spelman? I mean, I know the sister, I know Smith College, but what is this Spelman thing? The reality is what they desire is to maintain white elitism, white power structure, white economics, and freeze everybody out. And that's why Trump is doing what he's doing.
Hinged on an assumption, as I alluded to earlier, that people of color, particularly Black people, can't possibly achieve this thing. Listen, I got my doctorate from the University of Chicago, and I cannot tell you how many times, an endless number of times, and I've heard this from other Black people from University of Chicago, that somebody has asked me, where are you getting your doctorate? And I'll say, and they correct me, do you mean whatever other university? No, I said what I mean, because there's an assumption that I couldn't possibly be there as a Black woman. When the Tuskegee Airmen took their exams to become pilots, they outscored their white counterparts to the point where people actually thought that they cheated and made them take those tests again. This is an age-old assumption among what we now have as these MAGA individuals, that Black people cannot possibly have achieved this thing, and that I am not getting this thing because it's being taken from me, not because I don't have the wherewithal or the the achievements to be able to do this. So when you have articles like what you just had, where they're citing how white men used to have this and white men used to have that, and now they have XYZ, it is because it is being given to disqualified or underqualified people. That is the assumption. And what does that do? That creates a level of anger among them that fortifies a base of MAGA that then says, we will do your bidding for you so that we can make a white world. It is why we see such an increase in racial attacks, in race-based attacks during both Trump administrations, the last one and now this one, that people of color are being attacked more because of the kind of dog whistle that this administration is doing. And they're hinging it on a notion of white entitlement.
This is the line that I think is most important in the article to understand the mindset of Congo. When he says, for white male millennials, DEI wasn't a gentle rebalancing. It was a profound shift in how power and prestige were distributed. In right there. And that's what it boils down to. What drives these folks crazy, what drives them crazy, what's driving the Supreme Court case where they're going to make a decision that's going to gut Black power, political power across the South is shit. They passed that damn Voting Rights Act and they ass got some power. Shit. They passed that damn 64 Civil Rights Act. Now they ass got some damn power. You mean to tell me, damn. See, I need to take everybody back through history. The Civil Rights Bill when Kennedy got elected was one big-ass bill. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and the Fair Housing Act, that was all one bill. That was one bill. Kennedy gets assassinated November 22nd, 63. LBJ tells MLK, I cannot pass this bill. I cannot pass this bill. I cannot. Bryan Cranston, who plays LBJ in the HBO movie, Anthony Mackie plays MLK. There's a scene where literally LBJ tears out 2/3 of the bill. So the reason it was 3 bills, because it was broken up. The Civil Rights Act was 64. The Voting Rights Act was 65. But this is the piece that people don't seem to understand. Wait a minute. Now, how was Kennedy killed on November 22nd, 63? And then they passed the Civil Rights Act in 64 and the Voting Rights Act in 65. But what the hell took 3 years for the Fair Housing Act? It's because white Republicans who were supportive of the 64 Civil Rights Act and the 65 Voting Rights Act said, now hold up. Now, we opposed them Southern Dixiecrats, and we gave the niggers, we'd say, all right, fine, y'all can stay in hotels, and y'all can ride buses, and y'all can do public accommodations, was the 64 Civil Rights Act. Now, we gave them niggers the right to vote, which actually was given with the 3 Reconstruction Amendments, but they had to ratify the Voting Rights Act to make that thing real. All right, we then gave them niggers the right to vote. But wait, hold up. Y'all want us to support them niggers living next to us? Oh, hell no. We not. No, we not doing that. See, I see some of y'all out there who ain't read. I want y'all to Google right now. I want everybody to watch. If you are listening to the sound of my voice or you're watching right now, I want you to actually Google. And Anthony, you can sit in and you can pull this up. I want y'all to Google Ronald Reagan and Governor of California and racial covenants. Y'all gonna see it right there. Now this, you see the AI overview, right there. As Governor, Ronald Reagan opposed California's Rumford Fair Housing Act 1963, and he championed Proposition 14, a ballot measure to repeal it, arguing it violated property owners' rights to discriminate, a stance aligning with opposition to racially restrictive covenants that historically barred non-whites from neighborhoods. Reagan campaigned on this, quote, freedom to discriminate, though his own properties had such clauses which he claimed ignorance of. His stance, rooted in property rights, became a cornerstone of his conservative appeal, but the Supreme Court struck down Prop 14, eventually leading to federal fair housing laws. Now, y'all, I'm reading that for you because the white folks in California passed Prop 14, which said, I do not have to sell. I can put in the covenants, you don't have to sell to somebody black. What people don't understand is that it was a black Republican, Edward Brooke of Massachusetts, who ain't like these damn Republicans. He was a liberal Republican. It was Ed Brooke who broke the filibuster. People need to listen what I'm talking about. Ed Brooke, I'm going to do this here. Again, go back to my iPad. Ed Brooke breaks filibuster. Housing. Boom. Housing champion. Ed Brooke, this is the, so what happened? Ed Brooke fought for housing, and what ended up happening was you had all of these, let me pull up a separate story, all of these folk right here, how Brooks helped destroy public housing. That was public housing. So what ended up happening was, it was all about fair housing. This was being the housing law was being blocked. The housing law was being blocked in the United States Senate. Ed Brooke brokered to break the filibuster to advance the 1968 Fair Housing Act. That happened in February of 1968. Now some of y'all, now y'all going, okay, hold up. Now you're going, wait, I don't understand though. Wasn't the Fair Housing Act like signed later? Yeah, it was signed later. It was signed later. You know why? But mess y'all up. The Republicans were blocking it in the House. What happens? King gets assassinated April 4th, 1968. LBJ, again, this what happened when you read, LBJ in letter to House after MLK killed. LBJ sends a letter to the House. Let me I'm gonna say LBJ in housing letter. LBJ sends a letter to the House saying we need to sign this law that King gave his life for. That's what LBJ actually did. So y'all, they fought housing in this country. They fought housing in this country. So what Donald Trump is saying and what MAGA wants to do, MAGA is desperately, can we peel back housing? Can we peel back voting? Can we peel back 64 Civil Rights Act? Y'all, you peel those three back, you literally peel back 60 years of American progress. That, Ome Congo, is their ultimate goal. So they want to, by peeling back as much as they can, they want to, in essence, reinstitute Jim Crow. Again, not water hoses, not German shepherds, not that aspect, but if they are able to completely, let's just say, this floor I'm standing on is the foundation. If I can take a jackhammer to the foundation of a house, then house can stay standing because the infrastructure has been broken apart. That is what their agenda is.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up, the various civil rights acts, and because so much of this involved the courts, and it makes me think about the John Roberts courts because they are also working. The Supreme Court is working in partnership with Trump to do just that. This is why the late great Representative, John Lewis opposed the confirmation of Chief Roberts on the Supreme Court because he has always been somebody who's been about who's against any type of voting type of rights or access. This is the Supreme Court that's destroyed affirmative action. This is the Supreme Court that has other types of rollbacks. And so we could talk about what Trump is doing, but he's doing it in partnership with them. Like you said, there are no Republicans like Brooks right now. And then you look at the House of Representatives as well. And so if people could just see that one of the things that, Donald Trump, he's crazy, he's irrational, but he's also very methodical in terms of the people who are around him, the Stephen Millers of the world, people who know how to plan, people who know how to target various aspects of legislation with precision, the folks who are over at the Heritage Foundation, for example. And so you're absolutely right. They don't need to bring out the German Shepherds and the fire hoses. I would say they don't need to bring them out yet, but they are planning to do this and they're implementing it everywhere I go, Roland. When I'm speaking now, schools, colleges, and different places, the audiences are wider again. The companies, they're wider once again. The numbers are rising. You talked about the entertainment industry and how that's looking as well. Did you see that picture of the White House interns? And someone said, oh, I see great diversity here. I see tall white people. I see short white people. I see skinny white people. Like they're making it all for them in every way, shape, or form across every industry. And we don't even got to talk about what they're doing in the tech world as well. And so people, again, it's only been a year. It's only been a year, Roland. This is happening at a very fast pace. Project 2025, what did they want to do all of this in like 180 days? They might be a little bit behind, but they're not stopping. And so when people tie in this segment, people got to see this segment. Goodness gracious, the way you tie in the civil rights movement, the way you tie in Lyndon B. Johnson, the way you tie in Kennedy, the way you tie in what's going on right now with the Rufos of the world, it's all being laid out. And the more you know, the more we can fight this, because the goal is to destroy the foundation, and they are putting holes and dents and cracks in the foundation every single day waiting for our house to crumble, and it's crumbling.
So, folks, just so you understand, and again, this is all facts. King gets assassinated on April 4th, 1968. They had been fighting for 3 years. Yeah, the vote was 250 to 72. It was signed into law on April 11th. That was just 1 week later. It was King's assassination that caused America to pass this bill. King doesn't get assassinated, that bill don't get signed, and the fight continues. And so I just want people to understand what's going on, what's at stake, and you have to understand, y'all, again, we have got to stop walking around here. There's this great scene in Scandal where Joe Morton character, Papa Pope, tells Kerry Washington's character, he said, you're running around in a field of daisies while bombs are going off. No, he said, you're running around in a field with bombs going off, and you're mistaking it as a field of daisies. There are black folks who are running around. And again, I understand the fun we're having, going to brunch and boots on the ground and dancing and enjoying ourselves. But bombs are literally going off all around us, while some of us think that's fireworks. And do understand, these folks, this is about power. This is about control. This is about resources. This is about limiting opportunities. This is literally about how can they completely restrict the future advancement of African Americans in this country, where only a select few are allowed through. Folks, this is not a drill. This is for real. Going to a break, we come back. We're going to talk about ICE in Minneapolis right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about the ups and the downs of the holidays, the ebb and flow of life, those things that keep us running and gunning. But you know, there comes a time in each of our lives where we need to just sit down, sit back, and relax, giving you a chance to really find out who you are and how you're going to move your life forward.
How do I learn? How do I grow from this? And that's where, resilience comes.
I'm literally walking this out in real time. It's just giving myself all the grace, all the space, all the permission that I need.
We're talking about all of these things this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
Of the Selma to Montgomery March in 1965, Dr. King stood in front of the Alabama State House and told 25,000 Americans that the greatest threat to the greedy oligarchy is when poor blacks and poor whites and others mobilize together and form a voting bloc that can fundamentally shift the economic architecture of our nation. In America today, we have fewer voting right protections than we did when the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. And state legislatures have abused their power to try to pick their voters rather than let the voters pick their legislators. Meanwhile, every day people are suffering while the greedy get richer and richer. Dr. King was right, and many others were right. The billionaires who think they can buy our politicians are afraid of people coming together across dividing lines and building power together. In 2013 and 2014, we together in this state built out the Moral Monday movement. And in 2014, more than 80,000 people showed up in Raleigh for a mass people's assembly. We mobilized our power. We mobilized our vision. We did not continue to just resist what others were doing. We claimed the world that we wanted, the society that we wanted. And what we did energized. It was not partisan, it was principled. Here we are again now in 2026. And it's time to love forward together and mobilize. This is our Selma moment. And we need everybody, regardless of your race, your creed, your color, your religion, your sexuality, whoever you are, if you love voting rights for all, if you love abolishing poverty and bringing into reality living wage, if you love health care for all, if you love and grace and mercy and do not want to buy into the religious nationalism of hate and meanness and a lack of empathy, if you want to love forward together, welcoming immigrants rather than suffering ICE raids, if you love the environment and want to see it cared for rather than the polluters taking over, if you love fully supported public education, if you want to love, not hate, and to have peace and not war, to stand against unchecked militarization and the militarization of our cities, then it is time to come together and mobilize our power and our passion for justice. Then we now are in a moment where we must move from resistance to loving forward and mobilizing our power. So, from February 11th through the 14th, North Carolinians are going to be walking and marching and caravanning from Wilson to Raleigh. And on Saturday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, we will hold a massive People's Assembly for a moral agenda in Raleigh, North Carolina, saying it is time to love forward together. We are marching from a district that MAGA extremists, because of a call from President Trump, decided to gerrymander the 1st Congressional District, take it away from the people. And we are inviting all defenders of democracy and champions of the common good to meet us in Raleigh on February 14th to reclaim a moral agenda, an agenda for going forward, to pursue the society and the democracy that we want, not only for ourselves, but for our children's children. For somebody's been hurting our people, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be quiet anymore. We will love forward together.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Lee, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
An additional 1,000 ICE and Border Patrol officers are being sent to Minneapolis after the fatal shooting of Renee, a 37-year-old mother of 3, by a federal agent last week. Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin says the ICE agents' footage seconds before Goods confirms their claim that Jonathan Ross acted in self-defense. She says the deployment is needed to protect personnel and enforce the law. Minneapolis leaders say more agents will only create chaos and intimidation. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey condemned the heavy-handed federal presence, demanding the agents leave the city and are calling for an independent investigation. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar warned that federal tactics are stoking chaos with heavy immigration enforcement, blocking lawmakers from visiting ICE facilities. Omar and fellow Minnesota Democratic Congress members were denied access to an ICE facility on Saturday. That comes on top of roughly 2,000 federal agents who are already deployed. Folks, a GoFundMe campaign has raised nearly $400,000 for the coward who shot Renee Good in the face. It was created January 9th. The fundraiser aims to aid the potential legal defense of Jonathan Ross. Folks like billionaire Bill Ackman has given $10,000 to that as well. Also, the state of Minnesota, as well as the state of Illinois, are suing ICE because of their actions in those two states. What say you, Makongo?
Look, in Minneapolis right now, there are more ICE agents than there are police. It is a militarized state. It is an occupation. And Trump is priming the rest of the country to show what could happen. And you see that these agents are completely unleashed and unhinged. You see the videos, where one said, after what happened to Miss Good, you saw what happened, right? And then as he snatched the woman's phone, we're hearing stories about, them walking through Target, walking into restaurants, seeing a group of a black or white person and a Latino person grabbing the Latino person, pulling people out of cars, and they're doing it to everybody in terms of the violence, and then arresting people who are black or Latino. This is Trump fully unleashed.
As you're talking, I'm playing a video of them arresting folks who were just filming them. You see how their actions are. Keep going.
Absolutely. This is complete gangbusters. This is Gestapo tactics. They raided someone's house today and took a family, according to journalist Michelle Norris. And you just comes right off the heels of J.D. Vance saying last week that we're going to be going door to door, just like in Nazi Germany. This is where we are right now as a country. This is what was predicted. And if people don't continue to stand up, but look, I'm seeing these people out on the streets, man, but I'm not hearing anything from the sports world outside of Doc Rivers and Steve Kerr. I'm not hearing anything from the players. I'm not hearing anything from the business community. Target, all of these places, they're all there. Not hearing anything from any of those folks who are of the religious community has been speaking up. But at the end of the day, Roland, look at the Golden Globes that was last night or something? Like, nobody who got an award made a statement. The host did. Mark Ruffalo made some statements outside. This is happening right before our eyes. It's Nazi Germany in real time, and too many people are being silent right now. And that's the part that is the second most despicable thing outside of what's actually happening. People of so much prominence, people who got their names on the walls at Trump's ballroom and everything, are watching all of this happen. And it's disgusting and it's disgraceful, but it's only going to get worse if more of us don't take more action.
Here, you mentioned Doc Rivers, the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, speaking on this issue. This is what he had to say. Y'all should have it there. Go ahead.
Told LeBron to shut up and dribble, and that kind of sparked a much larger conversation about who gets to have an opinion about the government, since basketball players are obviously also private citizens. Do you think that moment was a bellwether for what was to come in American politics? And I guess just I would love to hear your thoughts in general on sort of the state of things right now, if you're comfortable sharing.
Well, first of all, I hope we are never using Laura Ingraham as a bellwether anything. I'm just keeping that real. She's more of a political actor than anything. She would sign at CNN if they gave her enough money tomorrow, and she'd be a Democrat. So I'm going to just throw that part out. But there's been a lot of guys. I think Arthur Ashe would be the first. If you just go back in history, and Muhammad Ali. I think everyone should speak up. I don't think it has to be an athlete. I don't think it has to be a celebrity. I think everyday people, all of us, should speak up if we think something's morally wrong. What happened in Minnesota was a straight up murder, in my opinion, and it's awful. This lady was probably trying to go home, and she didn't make it home, and that's really sad. So. The whole ICE thing it's a travesty. It's clearly, to me, we're attacking brown people, and I just happen to be brown, and I don't think it should just be brown people who are upset at this. I think we all have to be. I don't care what side of this thing you are on politically. What's going on in our country right now is absolutely wrong as far as the race stuff. The politics, I'm not going to get into. The race stuff, I will, and it's just wrong, and we have to do something. But the only thing we can do right now is keep speaking up, because it doesn't seem like they care, and that's troublesome. Last thing I'm going to say, because I don't want to stay on this, but I could. I keep thinking about kids, and when I grew up, the president was always the role model, and I think about that and the effect of being a bully, lying. How is that good for our kids? And that worries me for our future.
The Timberwolves, recognized, her life and the tragic nature of her death, and it's shameful, really, that in our country we can have law enforcement officers who commit murder and seemingly get away with it. It's shameful that the government can come out and lie about what happened when there's video, and witnesses who have all come out and disputed what the government is saying. So very demoralizing, devastating to lose anyone's life, especially in that matter. So It's terribly sad for her family and for her and for that city. And I'm glad the Timberwolves came out and expressed that sadness.
Terry Ann, now the right wing are mad. Folks like Clay Travis are saying, oh, I hope this guy sues Doc Rivers and Steve Kerr for calling it murder.
It's almost laughable. First of all, I'm so glad that Doc Rivers did that. And, you know, he stands on the shoulders of giants. He's not the first athlete to come out and use his lionized position as a professional athlete or now in the coaching staff to use that as a platform to call for social change. I mean, he stands on the shoulders of Wilma Rudolph and Lenny Wilkens and Bill Russell and Muhammad Ali, as he mentioned, all of these other folks who did the same. And it becomes, in many ways, a responsibility for them. And they took it on as a responsibility. Am I saying that every athlete needs to be an activist? No. But am I saying that athletes are athletes who promote this kind of activism, social change, make a difference? 100%. They stand as examples for others. Now, in terms of them saying that he called it murder, it was murder. The Department of Homeland Security put out a longer video this morning, 3.5 minutes, and they said, you know, this is the smoking gun, essentially. This is a video that will demonstrate that Renee Nicole Good was actually impeding their ability. I think that's the word that they used, impeding their ability to carry out their duties. The video shows nothing, but what they are relying on is their ability to say, don't believe your eyes and ears, believe us and what we are saying. You know, good luck to them being able to prove that in court that he said murder. And I would bet that Doc Rivers will absolutely not take back what he said because he called a spade. And what we watched was a murder. And also what we're going to watch is a mounting campaign in opposition to ICE. They are the modern day slave catchers. And one thing I can say about slave catchers, particularly after 1850 and the compromise of 1850, is that as they were snatching people visibly off the streets, just like ICE is doing, whether people were born into slavery or free people, just like whether you're a citizen or not, they were physically taking them and placing them back into slavery. It is the most modern parallel that we have. Yes, they are like the Gestapo, but they are these slave catchers. But you know what happened because of the visibility of their inhumanity and the visibility of their disdain for people? People across racial boundaries, Black people and white people, came together and they mounted increased abolitionist efforts to stop slave catchers. That is what we're seeing today. That is why we saw protests in the streets of Seattle and Minneapolis and Phoenix and so many other cities immediately following this death. So they can ramp up ICE's presence in Minneapolis, but I think what they're going to do as a side effect of that is ramp up the opposition.
We certainly will see that is happening. The protests continue, the lawsuits continue, and they are digging in, and so are those against them. We appreciate it, Terry Ann Omekongo. Thanks for joining us on the panel today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Folks, if y'all want to support the work that we do me a favor. Please join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible to do the work that we do. I went by the mailbox today. Of course, we're out. Had not been there in a month, but more than a couple of hundred envelopes there. So I'll be going through opening those. I appreciate those checks and money orders. If you want to contribute, please do so. Via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. You can also use that for credit cards as well. If you want to just click the Cash App button to contribute. If you want to send a check and money order, make it payable to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app. We got a new app, so if you already have it, you got to just create a new password. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can get our T-shirts, get all that stuff right there, shopblackstarnetwork.com. QR code there as well. If you want to support the Black-owned companies, all the products you see are right here, folks. Right here. All of these are Black-owned products you can get at shopblackstarnetwork.com in our marketplace. I mean, you name it. We got backpacks, crossword puzzles, toilet paper. We got dolls, spices, all sorts of things. You can get everything right there. shopblackstarnetwork.com. And they're almost done with the Raise for Fan Base. If you want to invest and get more information at startengine.com/fanbase. If not, you can still download the app there as well. All right, folks, game time starting shortly, 6 minutes. My Houston Texans playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, so looking forward to that. couple of folks. Terrell, he a little sad in our control room because his woeful Washington Commanders did not even make it. I don't even know what their record was. It was terrible. Anthony as well. And if his team been on vacation for at least 2 weeks. Matter of fact, the Washington Commanders fans, they've known they wasn't making the playoff for at least a month, so they've been on vacation. And Paula Henry and his little Cowboys, we know they suck. So I think, did they finish like 7-9 or something like that? 7-9-1. So it's a lot of sad faces around here, but this one isn't. All right, Texans, y'all handle y'all business. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow.